and welcome to yet another vlog by Pale Blue Thoughts. Today we continue with the second part of our story of the sky. Our channel has crossed 2000 views and 200 subscribers, and we are truly indebted to all of our viewers. So on to our story. What you see in this picture is a structure which is found in the Salisbury Plains of the UK. It consists of a ring of standing stones, each around 4 meters high, 2 meters wide, and weighing around 25 tons. These stones have been carried from far, some as distant as 500 miles away, and then arranged in circles over a vast area. These have been constructed about 5,000 years ago. Why did they take so much trouble in those days to arrange stones in circles?
If you watch these structures closely, you can see that some of the entrances and circles closely align with where the sun rises at different times in the year and also follow the solar solstices. If they had to undergo all these troubles in those times without cranes and modern equipment to move tons of stone to watch the sun, it would tell you the importance that they attributed to the sky. This picture that you see here is that of Jantar Mantar in Delhi. You may not be able to make out from the picture, but this is actually a sundial. As the sun rises and sets, there is difference in the length and positions of our shadows as the sun passes over us. If we study or observe this, the sun will help us to tell the time.
To know the time during the night is a little bit trickier, but the ancient people also noticed that all celestial objects seems to rise in the eastern horizon and set in the western horizon. That time they thought that these were moving around us. However, we now know that it is because of the earth revolving around its own axis. It is actually an apparent motion. They seem to move because we are moving, not they. Even as all the stars seem to rise in the east and set in the west, they noticed that one star which did not follow this pattern. That star is what we call the pole star today. If all stars moved, but if one star continued to remain in the same position, then it had a huge significance for the earlier humans. It can be used as a permanent marker. And another specialty of the pole star is that if you can see how high the star is on the sky, we can compute the location with a good enough precision. Let's say if you're living on a latitude of 15 degrees from the equator, then the pole star would appear to be 15 degrees above the horizon. As you move to, let's say, 50 degrees latitude, it is seen at 50 degrees above horizon. This really helped the ancient mariners and travelers in the deserts and became their best friend. If you could read the pole star, you will know which latitude you are in and which direction you need to go. If you spotted the pole star, you would know that that direction is north, and from there you can identify any other directions.
So how did the pole star stay at the same place while the rest of the stars moved? Today we know the answer. It is just that the pole star is directly above the Earth's axis. Or rather, the star which is directly above the axis becomes the pole star. So it doesn't get affected by the Earth's rotation. Now there are some stars which are near the pole star. They are called Circumpolar Stars. They also don't rise or set, but they move in circles. If you see this picture, which is a long exposure shot of the Circumpolar Stars, what you see are the movement of these stars. If anyone wants a proof that the Earth is revolving, here is a great one. The spirals show the spin of the Earth on its own axis.
Now the positions of the stars in the sky are steady. For instance, today you spotted a particular star and marked its location and some other stars around it. Now if you look at the same star pattern after many days, it will continue to remain in the same position. This means the relative positions of each star remains the same. The reasons why they remain in position is known to us today. If you have traveled in a train, you would have seen that the trees next to the train seems to move faster out of the way than a tree which is way far away in our line of vision. The same thing happens with stars.
The closest star to the Earth after the Sun is a star cluster called Alpha Centauri. On that, a star named Proxima Centauri is the closest to the Earth after the Sun. But the distance is 3 lakh times more far than the Sun. So now you can guess the distance of other stars. This is the reason why stars remain in the same place and does not get affected by the movement of the Earth, because they are all very far away. This helped us very much. We could now make or understand regions in the sky because of the unmoving stars. So what the ancient humans did was to combine different star clusters and imagined a picture of it. It is similar to a puzzle that we give small children, where we ask them to connect the dots and make a picture. Now various cultures who understand this secret in the sky made different pictures ranging from humans, objects, animals and imaginary characters, and they made stories from those pictures. Those stories were not born from their superstitions, but it provided them with mnemonic tool to remember certain regions in the sky. Different cultures saw different patterns in the sky, and hence the stories too differs. We call these star clusters as constellations.
All the different star signs that you're familiar with, like Aries, Libra, Capricorn, etc., are all different constellations in the sky. In ancient Indian astronomy too, we had different constellations like Saptarishi, which is actually a part of a constellation today approved by the International Astronomical Union. It is called the Big Dipper or the Ursa Major. If you draw a line between two stars of the Saptarishi, that will point towards the pole star. So, if you can spot the Saptarishis on a night sky, you don't need any other tool to know the directions. Same is the case with Orion. If you draw a line through the 3 stars, it will point to the north. Even today, identifying star patterns is used in police and defense training. Even if you have lost all the electronic equipment, or if they fail to work, you can still find your way in the night sky just by using the stars. So even today, we can find our way if we know how to read the patterns in the sky.
The ancient humans also noticed that there were some stars which did not stay steady, but moved with a specific speed through these patterns. They then called these planetae, which is a Greek word for wanderers. They later came to be known as planets. Now, the story of the sky gets more interesting when these wanderers are taken into account. These moving objects, which moved relative to the fixed stars, are now known as classical planets. This included the Sun, the Moon as well. Even today, astrologers consider Moon and Sun as planets. Just because they are wanderers doesn't mean that they are moving aimlessly. If you consider a band in the sky, all these moving objects fall within this band. This band is called the Zodiac. All planets travel within this Zodiac. They also notice that they moved in a precise time period. If you spotted a planet today next to a star, then after a long time, they came back to the same star. This included the Sun and the Moon as well. So they assumed that all these planets, including the Sun and the Moon, rotated the Earth. They gave rise to a geocentric model of the solar system, Earth at the center and all other planets moving around the Earth. All ancient civilizations up till Copernicus in 1543 lived with this wrong notion of the solar system.
Today we have apps which shows the celestial objects in the sky. An app that I can suggest is Skyview Lite. You just point your phone to the sky and it will point out the different stars. It will also point out the constellation and planets. I have been able to see Jupiter and Saturn so far and hope to see the rest of the 3 classical planets of Mercury, Venus and Mars soon. I can now identify many stars which I didn't know existed before. I found it very exciting to be able to look at the sky and identify the same patterns that helped my ancestors better their lives. You should try it too. They also noticed that the time it took for the planets to make one complete circle of the zodiac differed. Moon was a Usain Bolt. It left a star and came back to the same star the fastest in 27.3 days. Saturn was the slowpoke. It took Saturn 29 years to make one complete revolution. If we know so much, now we can see that there is a clock in the sky. Plain sky is the dial. The zodiac, having stars at fixed positions, are the digits, and the moving parts which are moving with varied speeds are the hands of the clock. Earlier we saw how ancient humans understood directions by using the sky. Now they saw that they could calculate something even more required in their lives: time. However, that is a story for later, as we pause again in the interest of time. We will be back with the story of these moving celestial objects and how it turned out to be the most important discovery of man in the next video. Until then, keep looking at the stars, and if you do spot a subscribe button among them, please click on the subscribe button and the little bell icon next to it so that we can continue to show you the correct direction for your thoughts. Until next time, it's bye from us.